Welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be demonstrating how I've used one of my own poems to create a mixed media collage with acrylics, and this is especially for Mother's Day. Hi, I'm Marion Dutton. I'm the author of the Healing Art book and the founder of MazArt Studio. And if this is the first time we've met, I do hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel and give me those all-important thumbs up. If you'd like to paint with me in real time, then please visit my online school where you'll find many classes for you to enjoy in a variety of different medium. Each class has been professionally filmed and edited, so you won't miss a thing, and they each come with reference photos, tracings and printable PDF. I'm going to begin by using a copper acrylic paint and toning the entire canvas in this paint. I'm using a little bit of a water mister just to kind of help spread that paint around. So I'm going to cover the entire canvas to kind of tone it with this copper colour. I then use a paper towel scrunched up to try and create a little bit of texture inside the paint, just keeping this very, very loose. The area where I'm going to place the roses, I actually smooth that out, so I've got a nice smoother surface to actually paint the roses on. And of course, getting that hairdryer out and drying that. We're going to be doing many layers and drying between. I switch now to a Decor Art Dazzling Metallics, and that's in a peacock pearl. I will actually put a link below to all the materials I've used. And what it is with this one, it's got a really lovely shimmery blue colour, sort of a duck egg blue colour, which I really like. I kind of want some of these shiny tones on this piece. I'm keeping this very loose and keeping all my brush marks quite loose. I'm allowing some of that undercolour, and here you can see I'm now using a paper towel to once again create a little bit of texture and also sort of rub back and reveal some of that original copper from underneath. Now it's actually rubbed a little bit of that copper off as well, and it's created even more texture, so I'm just going to go with this and see what we end up with. Of course, drying between the layers. So I'm switching again back to the Decor Art Dazzling Metallics, and this one's called Copper. I also use an Emperor's Gold as well. I'm going to kind of be switching between all of those. And once again, I'm putting another layer on there. I'm adding that water to it to keep everything nice and thin and allow the colours from underneath to actually peek through. Like I said, I'm just layering with this and just trying to see what we end up with, sort of the different textures, using that the coppers and the golds with the peacock pearl. We're sort of using complementary colours here and really allowing those colours to play against each other, always drying in between those layers. So here you'll see me repeating that process again. Switching between the peacock pearl and the turquoise and the golds. Here I've printed my Mother's Day poem onto some parchment paper, and now I'm just going to tear that along you know, the sides and the top and the bottom, so it looks a little bit worn and old, again just to create some texture. I'm using a black ink pad and I'm sort of dipping the ends of the paper into the ink, again to sort of age it and make it look a little bit worn. And I do that all around the sides and the top and the bottom. I'm using some clear acrylic gesso to actually glue this sheet of paper down onto my canvas board. So I'm actually covering the back of the poem with the clear acrylic gesso, and then I'll position that where I want to on my canvas and then go over everything with the clear gesso. I'm going over the lettering and everything, and I'm actually being quite careful that I don't actually smudge any of the ink. I carefully smooth everything down so it's nice and flat, and then of course use that hairdryer to dry everything off. To create an area for my roses and my flowers, I'm actually using some burnt umber and some of the turquoise to get a really nice sort of dark greenish brown colour ready to position the flowers. So I'm going to do this in a couple of layers. I'm softening the edges so that I don't have any hard edges, and dry that off, and then add a second layer. So I've got a really nice dark area to paint the roses on. I'm keeping my edges quite irregular. I don't want to end up creating a square for the roses. I do want to keep it a little bit ragged at the edges. I'm using magenta with a little touch of yellow ochre and some white to create a nice dusky pink, and I'm adding some of the gel medium to my mixture as I go so that I can keep this nice and smooth and get some really nice soft outer edges. So here with this first layer, you can see I'm just blocking in the basic shape of the flowers. I put a slightly darker centre in, and then I dry that off with the hairdryer. I decide to add a second layer to the roses, again using a similar mixture, which is the magenta with a little touch of yellow ochre and some white. Switching now to some sap green, which has got a little touch of burnt sienna in there, and again I'm using that gel medium right into the mixture of the green, and I'm starting to add some leaves and some stems, keeping things nice and loose. Here I'm mixing a darker version for the centres, again using magenta, a little touch of yellow ochre, just a little less white this time, and I'm popping in the darker centres for these flowers. I'm adding the gel medium each time I load up the brush. I'm also doing the same with the green, mixing a lighter green, using sap green with a little touch of yellow and white in there now, and again adding that gel medium so that I'm able to begin highlighting the leaves. I dry everything off with the hairdryer, and once again begin adding yet another layer, this time lightening it further still by adding a little more yellow and a little more white. So we'll be constantly adding these different layers. I now mix a lighter pink by adding a little bit more white to the original mixture, and begin to create the petals. Again, I'm adding that gel medium as I go to the paint. I'm using the brush on the chiselled edge so that I'm able to get some really nice details in these petals. I now begin to create some little cluster flowers using some turquoise and some white. Just blocking the colour in to begin with. And then highlighting them with some white. I put the centres in using some gold. And once I'm happy with everything, I use the hairdryer to dry it off. I'm now lightening the colour again and beginning to add yet another layer onto the roses. And each time I add that layer, I'm dipping the paint into that gel medium so that it flows nicely off the brush. So I'm going to continue adding those layers in exactly the way I've been demonstrating, and whilst I do that, I'm actually going to read the poem that I've written out to you, and this is called The Mother's Day Poem by Marion Dutton. Remember me on this day, all the things we love and say. I will be here until the end, in me you'll always have a friend. I wish I could protect you all from life's cuts and bitter falls. I brought you up to be strong, to know right from wrong. I raised you to be true to yourself, to stand tall above all else, to love and live with all your soul, never give up, reach your goal. You'll get scared and sometimes cry, have the sense to know you won't die, that life can deal a bitter blow, punch you hard when you are low. Taste sweetness in those salted tears, you'll know through time and mature years, that bitter makes it sweeter more, closing one opens another door. Give your love freely and believe, wear your heart proudly on your sleeve, second best is not enough, be ruthless when it comes to love. Stand proud and hold your head up high, life is too short to let it pass by. It isn't easy to follow those dreams, you'll face some demons, so it seems. But dreams can make life so worthwhile, there's not many who'll walk that extra mile. And when you find you've reached the end, you'll know the ones you can call friend. But know this, my children, I am here, to cheer you on or wipe the tears. This is a place you can run, I am always here, I am your mum. Love is all that I have got, and you know, no matter what, my love is strong, it can never budge, it will not question and doesn't judge. I'll hold your hand in my heart for all time. I'm proud to say that you are mine, the man and women you've grown to be, strong and resilient with such beauty. A time will come when I'm not there, you'll hear my voice in your prayer, and when you feel the breeze, you'll know I am with you, I never let go. I hope you enjoyed me reading that poem to you. Now what you're actually seeing me do now is using some Galleria modelling paste and some stencils to actually create a little extra texture. So I'm just pasting that into the stencil and then carefully removing. And then of course wiping any areas that I don't particularly want, and then drying that with the hairdryer. I have a stencil of some roses as well, and I do exactly the same with that. Just put the modelling paste on using a palette knife and then carefully peel that off and dry that over with the hairdryer. So So I go back to adding a few more leaves now, and I'm using some more sap green that's had a little bit of yellow and white, and I'm also going to add some using some gold as well, just for a little bit of variance and keeping things nice and loose. I'm wanting now to actually come out of the original dark spot that I'd made for the flowers, and so I'm bringing some of these leaves up and out into the background now. I'm now using the gold to go over the stencils and just wiping sort of in between. I'm not too worried if some of that goes onto the background as well. Again, all these colours are all within the background, but I'm just using that to go over that the white of the modelling paste. I'm working a little bit more of that background over the poem as well to make sure it all looks all part of the same thing. Again, just sort of working back and forth now between these colours, adding a few leaves over the poem as well to kind of really settle that into the overall composition. Finally, when I'm happy with everything, I sign the painting. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and maybe you could do something like this yourself with an inspirational quote or one of your own poems. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I will remind you if you could subscribe to the channel, and also if you could share this video with some of your arty friends who you think may also benefit. And remember, if you would like to paint with me in real time, I do have many online classes and courses that are filmed professionally that you can paint along with me. I'd like to also take this opportunity to wish all the lovely, hardworking mums a very happy Mother's Day for this Sunday, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.